Thank you, board members, for joining us on a special voting meeting for August 15th, 2023. We will call this meeting to order. We have just a few agenda items, one of which is a personnel report, and we will entertain motions.
Second.
Moved by Morris, second by Jill. Any discussion or conversation? Questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. School districts business. We had a conversation about our advisory councils. The first advisory council is a resolution to establish an advisory council on mental health. Thanks to Karen, who was asking that we humbly have someone take the lead on it. Adam has agreed to take the lead on this and has helped draft the language that you see here. We'll get to that in a second, but in the meantime, we'll entertain motions.
I would move this. Resolved in accordance with District Policy 2260, the Board of Education of the Ithaca City School District seeks the establishment of an advisory council on mental health. The charge of this advisory council is to explore and recommend best practices to support the mental health and well-being of the ICSD community, as well as the creation of an ICSD suicide prevention and suicide response policy.
Second. Moved by Jill, second by Eldred. We will connect with other of our central administration because we know that there are folks in the district also working on that. We'll be sure to put them in contact with Adam. But any questions, discussion, conversations?
My question, I guess, would be why we say well-being of the ICSD community as opposed to students.
Well, I have a very clear answer.
Let's hear it.
Teachers, bus drivers, food service workers. I'm worried about the well-being of anybody that's within the workers.
Okay. It just really widens the charge, I think, if you move from students to all of those other folks, many of whom were adults with families, and they just, I don't know if you were in on the drafting of this, if that seems workable to you, go for it. But
well, it's a good thought.
I mean, it's that many more people to survey. It's that many more people to think about options for.
I think it's all like interconnected. I mean, like the families, the staff, the students. I mean, even if we focus on one, it's, you know, like if there's a suicide, and, you know, there's a ripple effect, obviously.
I'll also add that we had the pleasure of hosting Alex Lynette at Ithaca College this past spring, who wrote a book called Trauma-Informed Equity Work. And Alex was saying that too often our approaches focus only on students and not the infrastructure of a building. And we, for the most part, don't even address the trauma of our teachers. And that was also something echoed by Bettina Love, saying that a real problem in the way in which we engage is not thinking that everyone is dealing with trauma. And so that's the reason why I wrote it that way. But you did take a look at it, and I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate it.
I just where to go. Yeah. But
that was also echoed by Dr. Yolanda's years in her presentation at the Equity and Inclusion Symposium.
Yeah, and I think what the idea would be, we'll create the advisory council. We may find that it's too broad, and we have to narrow it if we do it again in years future coming up again. But I think to start, that would help us break those two policies in particular that you're talking about.
Yeah, and you know, obviously we can look and see what, and you know, we're going to set the agenda, so I mean, it could still be a heavily student-focused topics, but this way, you know, in consideration of the rest of the community. I know what you mean.
yeah,
It's broad. It's
I
big.
wanted to hear some discussion.
Yeah,
So thank you.
Other comments, questions?
Right. I guess for my 2 cents, I do agree with everyone who says the door swings both ways. Something's going on with the students' mental health. Of course, it affects everyone else, and vice versa. If teachers are under too much stress, well, we know teachers are under a tremendous amount of stress. And if we only focus on the children, to the exclusion of teachers, I think we hear about it. We would certainly hear about it, and the unfairness of that. I don't see them being separate, I guess. I don't know how you separate from children. I guess that's what I'm saying. I don't know how you separate a teacher's mental health from the 17 charges she or he is responsible for 6 hours a day, at least 6 hours a day.
Hearing no additional questions or comments, we'll call the vote. All in favor of the town establishment of the advisory council? That passes unanimously. Item 3.2, the establishment of an advisory council on legislative advocacy. I didn't know that had made the list. Have you seen this, Mr. Harris?
I have, thank you.
So that was interesting, because I was waiting to see the draft. So let me take a look at it, what we have here. Did you change what was sent to you over?
I did not. It's actually succinct. And to Adam's point, we will be the ones meeting, right? We can add anything to this charge that makes sense as we go along.
And just for my board colleagues, I looked around to see what other school districts did for their legislative advocacy, and what do we say in the academy? I loosely borrowed somebody else's language
Excellent.
without citation. So, but yes, this is language that was fairly common across a couple of school districts. That's where that language comes. And similarly, to Karen's point, Eldred has loosely agreed to be the lead on this, and I'm sure you'll be working with Dr. Brown to try to figure out who else will get in the committee similar to that. Questions about legislative advocacy? Because now we need some work on building aid and transportation aid. Hearing none at this point in time, we'll call the vote.
No, it doesn't happen.
You have to put it on.
I'm trying to move things along.
Speaking of moving.
Look, still,
No, I am. We are out of order. My apologies. We'll entertain motion.
I move to establish an advisory council for legislative advocacy for the 2023-24 school year.
second.
Moved by Moira, seconded by Jill. Any more discussion? All in favor? That passes unanimously as well. And given the conversation that we just had about the establishment of advisory council on sustainability, I believe the wish at this point in time is the table, so it will be on the agenda unless we deem otherwise, well, it have to be on the agenda on the table. Does that work for everybody? Fantastic. And then item 3.4 is a resolution to approve expenditures for board members to attend the NISBA annual convention in Buffalo, New York this year.
So we may be staying in Syracuse. We can't get out.
Waited too long.
Wait, 1 year.
Yeah.
So we'll entertain motions.
I'll move to approve expenditures for board members to attend the NISBA annual convention in Buffalo, New York, October 26th to 29th, 2023.
Second.
Moved by Moira, seconded by Eldred, and that would be for Moira and Karen to attend. Thank you. It's a great conference. Discussion, questions?
I do have one question more. From what you've read so far, how do they intend to distinguish this from the leadership event we attended?
Oh, actually, well, first of all, I'm also going to attend, there is a pre-conference, which just means it's the first day, leadership for board officers, and I'm gonna attend that. And then it has a huge, you've been to it before. It has a
I
huge-
literally can't remember how it differs from what we went to this
No,
evening.
it has a huge range of topics.
Okay.
And it's 2.5 days. Thursday, Friday, and half day Saturday. They also have the business meeting is part of that, with the resolution. So when it gets closer, we'll have to, they're gonna hold business meeting by Zoom again, which may actually not be, I forget how they're doing it. Last year, they kept the business meeting as a Zoom meeting. So it doesn't have to be somebody who's attending the conference who is our delegate to the business meeting.
As part of the annual convention, there will be, we will have to assign a delegate, we will have the option of assigning a delegate to vote on NISBA's priorities for the upcoming year. And so that will come at a later date. But right now, we're just looking at expenditures, support Karen and Moira to attend. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor? Passes unanimously. Enjoy Buffalo. And then lastly is a resolution to approve the change order on the geothermal soil infield that was just discussed at the facilities committee. So entertain motions.
Motion to approve change order request for geothermal soil condition at Enfield Elementary School in the amount of $192,475.
Second.
Moved by Maura, second by Jill. Any additional questions?
Yeah, I had one question. When this was being discussed earlier, where is Amanda? Is insurance for those kind of preliminary, that's not been on the table?
Dr. God.
They have to do this work, like paying for more work,
Mm-hmm.
which we are for product, which is geothermal, product.
Right.
So you're paying for how it's later.
Right. I just meant, is there, so in the field, there's no type of, insurance to cover those preliminary investigations was proved to be so underwhelming.
Not for undersea, but bait is a classic example of one.
And we should let folks probably know it could be a finance committee discussion as well, but all of our projects include a contingency budget, so it's not like we're pulling from money that doesn't exist. That we hopefully have the contingency to be able to cover this and keep things moving. And to Amanda's point, this is the fewest, in my 15 years, the fewest amount of change orders I've ever seen. I mean, keep knocking on the book 9 times, 12 times. So additional questions? Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor? Passes unanimously. Fantastic. We will have another voting meeting next week. And with that, I will bring this meeting to a close. Enjoy finance, good folks.